This world is ruled by Pinocchio. Watch his nose grow and it shows. From telling Porky's, that's his story. But I wonder, do we know? Someone's telling Porky's. They're lying. Someone's telling crazy, crazy stories. Hey, what's good, people, man? Platinum Bearded Dread with my guitar in my house. Question, man. How easily are you fooled? How easily am I fooled? Are we fooled? How well do we know when someone's telling us the truth? Now, some of you might say, well, do I know when someone's lying to me? I can tell when they're lying to me. Maybe. But what if everything we've ever known has been a lie? Imagine that for a second. Right, imagine this, yeah? Someone that you really trust, I don't know, best friend, your parents, comes to you and says they saw, with their own eyes, they saw your partner, husband, wife, whatever, kissing and hugging and holding hands, and more than that, they saw through the open curtain them just about to have sex. Let's just make it plain, yeah? And they told you that, they gave you that news, that horrible news. What would be your reaction? Now, would you be in complete denial and say, no, my partner would never do that? You probably saw someone else. Bearing in mind, right, this is someone that you trust. So, you know, complete denial, just say outright, no, that he wouldn't do that, or she wouldn't do that. Or would you, as they call it, shoot the messenger and get angry at your best friend or whoever's delivered the message, and almost to the point where you feel like they're trying to damage your relationship with the person that they saw. So all your anger is vented at them, shooting the messenger, as they call it. Or would you trust this person in what they're telling you and look into what kind of action you're going to take because you trust the information you've been given? It's not as straightforward as it sounds, yeah, because you know, when we receive shocking news that completely what's what I'm looking for, destroys our very foundation, or what we've stood on for so long, that can be scary, man. But the reason why I ask that question is because what if we look at the world we live in at the moment, the so-called Matrix, if you like. Some people might say, well, that's just a movie. But imagine if, let's take one thing at a time. Let's take education. Imagine if everything you've been told about education has been a lie, in the sense that it was put together by a group of, I don't know, just say middle-class white men who wanted to give us a curriculum that would make us slaves to the system and not in any sense give us a sense of independence and a do-for-self mentality where you can be truly independent. But the whole curriculum was based on churning out the same mind, thought pattern, so that you don't go any further than your parents did. Imagine for a second. So while you're there thinking that your children, you know, are getting the best education and the best degree possible and the best this, the best that, they've already been given a ceiling for how far they're gonna reach. And we already know, and you are completely unaware that the same education that they give to the so-called elite, you know, that end up being prime ministers and stuff like that, or, you know, or leaders, if you like, is very different, completely different to the education that the everyday person gets. And that's been in operation for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Imagine that for a second, man. Or imagine, look at the police force now. I remember when I was little, yeah, and I had this almost heroic picture of a policeman. You know, you can go up to him, ask him anything, and you know, you could trust him. When I was a toddler now, things have changed, but you know, you had the image of a hero. But imagine if the reality of that was that they were an organization that was sworn first and foremost to the brotherhood of the police force and not the everyday people. So in other words, truth and justice takes a second place to the brotherhood within the police force. Hence, why all these killings and acts of justice can take place simply because it's not about us. It's about maintaining, you know, the face of the police force, and those who do speak out end up losing their job or get threatened. Imagine that for a second. Or let's look at the military. Imagine if it wasn't a case of, you know, when you read history, Second World War, First World War, all kinds of wars that have taken place in history, and those wars have been fought for a group of very rich families who have used the poor, all colours, as cannon fodder, almost like in a chess game where there's certain things that they want to keep in place that they can continue to benefit from. So that they would orchestrate wars, and the first people in line would be our children, us, not their children. And it continues like that up to this day. So it's never really been a case of fighting for justice, you know, for the good of the people. Imagine that for a second. Or imagine when it comes to health. You know, you see me go to a doctor, to the hospital, and they give you the best treatment so you can come out healthier. But the reality being that the medical establishment is a business like any other, and without patients, the business will crumble. So it's not about curing at all. Even though there are cures, it's not about curing. It's about maintaining clients, if you like, who are sick, that will keep coming back. And in the same process, natural herbs that have been grown from the earth, given to us from the Most High One, Allah, Jah, you know, whatever word you want to use, have been kept quiet while they make their own concoctions of so-called quote medicine made in the lab, designed to keep us sick. So we keep going back to buy more medicine, to keep those companies that make the medicines, the pharmaceutical companies, richer. Imagine. And we're there thinking, oh, they really care for us and they want us to get better. Or imagine being having so much trust in a government that you think is for the people, when it never really was. They were for rich families, powerful companies, first and foremost before people like you and me. And that's the reason why they would allow certain things to be legal and certain things to not be legal, so that they can receive funding from those particular powerful organizations, regardless of the damage it does to us. Imagine that. Or imagine herbal remedies, like I said earlier on, being outlawed or made very difficult to sell, even though they're cures for all manner of diseases that they created. Imagine. I wonder. Now you can ask yourself the question again. How easily are we fooled? How easily do we recognize a lie when we see it? And being told all these truths, how do we receive it? Do we stay in denial? Do we shoot the messenger? Or do we trust where it's coming from and say, I need to do something about this? I mean, you think about it for a second, yeah. there's been many, they're not even stories, there's real facts about certain individuals that have tried to tell everyone in the world what's going on and have been silenced. I mean, you can name your pick, there's many. Whether you're talking, whether you're talking modern day, Bob Marley, John Lennon, Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, Michael Jackson, Prince, Lady Diana, Tupac. I mean, there's many, and that's modern day. Or if you want to take it even back further, and we go into scriptural times, we're talking about Prophet Muhammad, we're talking about the Christ, Yeshua. I mean, there's been many documented accounts of people that have been trying to tell us what's been going on in the world. Even in movies like The Matrix. And what else? Take your pick, there's so many of them. Been trying to tell us what's going on in the world. But yet, why is it that nothing changes in our minds? And why is it always only a few who see it for what it really is and shake themselves off and say, nah man, I need to wake up now? Why is that? Is that because the majority of us are still in denial or are shooting a messenger? Look at the story of Noah's Ark here. Now I know we can let's look at it as a story. You don't have to, let's not get into whether it's factual or symbolic. But the whole story you learn in school, religious education about, Noah, he built this big old ark on land. And all the people around him are laughing at him because they're saying, oh, you're building a big old ship on land. First of all, where's the sea? There's no water. Secondly, what the hell are you doing? Because no one's going to go into a boat that's built on land where there's no sea. So they look at him like a madman. And then after it's been built, he starts, because obviously no one wants to come on board the ship. So he starts loading on animals, in twos and stuff. Remember, I'm talking symbolically now. Until finally he closes the doorway to the ark, and then a terrific, terrifying storm hits, and then floods begin to build up around the world, around the country. They get higher and higher and higher and higher. And then all of a sudden, those that are not in the ark are drowning. Now remember, I'm not using this as a religious text, if you like. I'm just looking at it from the point of view of when you hear people trying to say something and you look at them as mad or you're in denial. Many times on my travels, I remember one time when I was in the supermarket, and in those days I was captured by all the glossy magazines, especially like the music ones. And I was looking inside it, and you'd have hip hop and the women looking half naked and stuff. Not that I'm judging, but that's what you'd see and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was reading it, and there was this guy standing next to me, and he looked a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie, without being disrespectful. And he was shaking around and looked dirty and stuff. And he said, you mustn't read that, you mustn't read that, you mustn't read that, you mustn't. He kept on saying it over and over, and then walked off. And even back then, I knew what he was saying was saying the truth. But I wondered, and it made me close the magazine, and I wondered how many people would just look at him as a madman and carry on about their business. But the problem is we only have so much time. And now with everything that's going on in the world, this whole COVID scam, that's another post still, but we really only have so much time. And once again, the question is, are we going to be in straight denial? Are we going to shoot the messenger? Or are we going to take stock and do something? Just a thought, man. Anyway, Platinum Bearded Dread with my guitar, man. What's your thoughts, man? Would you say you're easily fooled? Oh, don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe or something. And we'll do this again. Shit, man. Yeah.